Hi guys. So today I'm continuing my journey with through the major arcana with the Fool, and how I can incorporate that into my life, that the lessons and energies of the Fool into my life. I wanted to talk a little bit about priorities and procrastination. Now, that's been quite a difficult thing for me. When I just, in my last video, I talked about how I had drawn the Fool with a couple of surrounding cards to show me what influences the Fool is bringing into my life at the moment. And I got the Magician and the Eight of Wands. So for me it was all about having to get my tools together, get my plans in order, and making goals and things like that. Now that's all very well if you're a really goal-oriented person, but I'm in my head a lot. I'm a thinker. I will, spend all my time sort of reading reviews and what do other people think about this, and how are other people doing it, and just in my head, I was, it brings to mind that, my head is in the clouds a lot of the time. So, I may be needing to bring the Fool energy into my life at the moment in order to begin anew, because of everything that's happened in my life, losing my job, etc., and wanting to start a business. But it's really difficult for someone like me I'm an air sign. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything at all. I'm Aquarius, but I am a thinker. I'm always analysing everything. I need to get all of the details right in my head before I can sort of it's all right, like day-to-day stuff that I need to do as far as, doing the housework and dishes, that's all fine. That's just go through the motions. But when it's an important thing, I just can't take that first step. I just can't take that leap. I'm just stuck sort of in the clouds. So when the Eight of Wands, came up talking about having a target, having a goal, and I thought of the zombie tarot, how all the zombies have, they've got their eyes set on this girl here. Oops, you can't see that very well. They've got their eyes set on her, and it's about sort of having a path, like laying out a path. That's where I want to go. But I haven't been quite open about everything that's been going on in my life, and that's not what this series is all about. But I thought, if you've watched my last couple of videos, you might have heard that I was made redundant with my job early this year. Now, this was something that I was really good at. That's okay, but that sort of started a chain of events that the likes of which I've never gone through in all my life. I'm 42 years old, and it seems like the last 6 months has been just whoa. So basically, I found out that my 21-year-old daughter is pregnant, so I'm going to be a grandmother. So that's a big change. I mean, if that's not a Fool moment, a potential, the potentials that involves is overwhelming. Then I lost my job, and the fact that I lost my job, I've brought up my daughter on my own for the last 18 years, well, up until she moved out, and But I've been used to my own space, so I had to get in a flatmate in order to be able to cover my costs, which I hate. I like living by myself, you know. It turned out to be a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So that happened. Then, what happened after that? Oh, then my cat got sick. So all of the money that I actually did get from my redundancy went on vet bills. And in the end, I had to make the decision to put him down. Now, he was a cat that I had for 9 years. And I love that little boy to bits. So that happened. And I got sick. I had a terrible flu. Through all that, I gave up smoking. I smoked for, how old am I? I'm 42. I smoked since I was 14. 24, 34, I mean 28 years, is that right? 26 years, no 28 years, but I managed to do that through all of that. So I know that I can, but I've also got other stuff going on. So it's not just the fact that I've lost my job. I want to start a business. It's that I have a lot of other factors involved. Like in New Zealand, our welfare system means that we're scrutinised monthly. If you are offered a job, you're not allowed to turn it down without good reason, or your benefit will be cut and you'll have nothing. At the moment, the welfare that I'm on, my daughter and her partner have actually moved back home, but I had to get my flatmate to move out. It was just that much of a nightmare. So my daughter and her partner have moved in. So I'm facing having a newborn baby in my house. And I haven't quite come to terms with the fact that I'm going to be a grandmother at 42 either, but hey. So there's that huge change. There's the fact that, you know, when they're not going to want to live at home with mum, you know, welfare only gives me enough to just cover my rent. So the only reason I can really live is because I've got them living here. And I find it really difficult to allow others into my life. You know, they might turn out to be a nightmare. And then I've got WINS on my back saying, WINS is the New Zealand welfare system, on my back saying, you know, you better take this, you know, any job that's given to you or your benefit will be cut, which means I feel this pressure to not be able to put the work into starting my own business, which is what I really want to do. So I kind of feel like the New Zealand welfare system doesn't allow individuals to pursue what would really be right for them and what would bring in, you know, what would really make them a good contributing person to society. You know, I think people contribute a lot more when they're allowed to do what they're passionate about. So I've got this pressure on me to just get any old crap job that's just going to be soul destroying, which I'm open to. If it comes to that and I just have to get some part-time job in the meantime to cover things, then obviously I will do that. So I've got that on top of my you know, my head that I've got to think about. So it's not just a matter of, oh, I can just sit back and start a business. I don't have a partner or anyone to support me while I'm doing this. My priority is getting the welfare people off my back. I've got a car that's an older car that I'm fairly certain when I take it in for its warrant of fitness, next week they're going to say it needs all of this work done and I'm going to have no money to do that, in which case I'm going to have to get rid of my car. So the idea of being without a car at 42, losing my sense of freedom, which again is what, you know, the fool embodies freedom. On the other hand, you know, maybe that will allow me to just cut my ties and you know, maybe that's a blessing to not have that tie in the meantime. But so it's like, what do I, you know, so I've got to deal with that because I have nowhere to park my car. I live in Wellington, and that's the capital city, and there's a lot of hilly, very narrow streets, and people don't have their own. You know, a lot of people in the city don't have their own sort of off-street car park. They don't have a garage to park it in, or a driveway. So you're parking it on the road, but you're not allowed to have a car parked on the road that doesn't have a current warrant of fitness. So I'm forced to have to deal with, it's just been, I feel like since I lost my job, it's been one thing after another. And I haven't been able to concentrate on starting a business. It's just been wham, you've lost your job. Wham, you've got to have a flatmate move in and change your, some random stranger move into your house, that you've never had to do in 20 years, into your family home. Wham, you've spent all of the money that you got from your redundancy on your cat. Wham, your cat then dies. Wham, you're going to be a grandmother. Wham, your car's now fucked, basically. And it's just, so I just wanted to have a little bit of a vent and a bit of a chat about how the fool is sometimes it's not quite as simple as just get started, just take that leap. Which leap? Which leap? What's my priority? I can't have the car on the road. I can't have winds cut my benefit. I can't sort of have no place to live. I'm sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place in some ways, where, if I do get a job to tide me over in the meantime, I'm just going to be so exhausted from it and so sort of soul destroyed that I'm not going to have the what do you call it? I'm not going to have the inspiration to, or the time, or the energy to put into my business, which is what I really want to do. I just wish I was able to be allowed to just put my energy into that and just be aided in that, I don't know where I'm going with this, but really, it'd be great to hear other people's perspective on that. But I am, at the moment, the fool for me, it's about figuring out all of these each of one of these is something new, that is something else that I've got to figure. It's dealing with the car, it's dealing with the house, it's dealing with the income situation, it's dealing with all of those. I've got to sort of just figure out a priority, a ladder of priority. So that's where I'm at with the fool about beginnings, and it sure is. It's not just a beginning in a career. It's my whole life has been completely overhauled in the last 6 months. Everything that I have had for the last 10 years, gone. So, and I'm sure there are people a lot worse off than me, but I just wanted to say, incorporating the energy into your life, it's actually a good thing for me. It's a good thing to help me focus. But now it's about doing it. But I did want to talk about why I've kind of procrastinated and a little bit about everything that's been going on that's sort of put me in this position, and how that can make things really hard to prioritize and can lead to procrastination. So in my next videos, I'm going to be sort of going a little bit into how to use the fool to sort of overcome some of that procrastination, and how to use it to goal set and prioritize, and actually start to take those steps to take my damn power back. But that's all for now. So I've been a bit prolific with these videos the last day or so, but yeah, hopefully you guys will stay tuned. Thanks for listening. All right, ta-da, cheery.